Can't Stop by Red Hot Chili Peppers. We're doing a version for our inter-schools band auditions. So we've made one or two very subtle, slight changes from the original tabs that you might find on the internet, but it's still going to sound really, really cool. It's still going to sound pretty much like the original, and very few, if anybody, will be able to tell the difference. Now, please make sure you've got the PDF in front of you. If you need a copy of the PDF, WhatsApp me immediately before you go further, or drop me an email and I'll be happy to send the tabs through to you as well. And we're looking at the intro tab, which says part 1, repeat 8 times. And it's got a 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, and one more 5, 7. But after the 5th 5, 7, listen for that subtle pause. So we're going to go slow motion. Did you hear the subtle pause after the 5th one? That's very, very important. Now the intro riff is possibly the easiest part of the song. You're simply playing on your 5th string, and you're playing 5, 7. Please don't use hammer-on. So this is bad. Doesn't sound bad, but it's not where it should be. So pick all the notes. It's not that difficult. Okay, now comes the fun part. The part that sounds like this. We're looking at that part, and we're going to zoom in a bit closer so we can see what our fretting hand is doing more accurately. Okay, step 1, we're looking at first finger fret number 7. We're looking at the verse riff on the PDF file, and you're looking at a note that will sound like this. And you play it twice, because if you look at your tab, you'll see there are 2 very close 7s in succession. Now the tricky part over here is the jump across from your 5th string to your 3rd string, and you want your first finger to do the transition. So slow motion, and then you finish off the 7 to the 9 from your 1st to your 3rd finger. Notice my fingers are numbered. Please try and use the same finger notation that I'm using. It just might make it a whole lot easier to learn the riff. Okay, so your first 4 notes, slow motion. After you've done that, you jump back to the 7s and you do 3 7s. 3 this time, and you jump again to the 7, 9. Now before we go further, I want you to have a look at your tab sheet that I sent through for you. You'll notice that the 7, 9 is sort of a constant in every single bar. So every bar has got that 7, 9 in it. While on the A string, your 7s become 5s. That's the 5th fret. Then it eventually becomes 7s on the 6th string. There's the 7 on the 6th string, and then 8 on the 6th string too. So one half moves around, while the 7, 9 we spoke about is static. That's your constant, if you want to call it that. Now let's do the whole bar super slow motion. It starts double 7, 7, 9, triple 7. And the following triple 7 I want to play into the 5. So it's going to go. You can see the jump there to the 5th fret. That's a very important jump. We want to get that going. If you stop it like this and then do the 5, you don't have the continuity we want to establish. You want to get the riff flowing. So it's very, very important. Now, before we go further, we want to look at our picking hand and the notation necessary for that. Now, our picking action or stroke direction is very, very important for the song to ensure good speed. And each one of those groups, in other words, not the 7, 9, but the 7s and the triple 7s, which become 5s, etc. You want to end those on a downstroke. So your first double 7 will have to start on an upstroke to make sure it ends on a downstroke. Simple sort of odds and evens. So your first one, start with the upstroke. And for the 7, 9, as you cross over, I would do a downstroke for both of those. Now you have to jump back up, and this is why it's such a cool song, is because it's also got a nice exercise teaching us to sort of jump and clear a string called string skipping. And the following triple 7 now must start on a downstroke. Odd number, start on a downstroke, you end on a downstroke. Even number, like the following triple 7, 5, 4 notes, even number, going to start on an up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can hear the change from the 7 to the 5, but you can also see I'm ending on a down stroke. So the important part is always make sure you end on a downstroke for this. It will help you keep your rhythm naturally. You're sort of programming your picking hand into a rhythm as you're learning the song. So one more time. Watch how I end each one on a downstroke. Okay, now I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to sort of give you an overview so you can see left and right hands working together. Now we can see both left and right hands moving better. Again, pay attention to the downstroke ending each phrase on the 5th string, which is eventually going to go to the 6th string. And you'll notice the 7 lines, all downstrokes. As we mentioned just a few minutes ago, it's to help get your picking hand nice and rhythmically orientated. Okay, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I've seen 1 or 2 transcriptions, and I watched Frazante play it in one of the videos, and he doesn't actually play this 5th string, 5th fret. He actually plays an open string, because the open D string and that note's the same note. I just prefer the fretted personally. I'm not saying it's better, I'm saying it's a personal preference. So if you want to play the open 4th string instead of the fretted 5th string, that's your own discrepancy. You can choose as you wish. Okay, now the second bar, basically you've shifted down from the 7s to the 5s. You've got triple 5s. Remember, odd numbers start with the downstroke. And this is the fun part because it gets us moving backwards and forwards. Check this. So it's a nice accuracy for left hand and right hand. And maybe that's why John decided to use the open string, because he didn't have to move the hand. And that sounded pretty cool as well. Now when you're playing this, play hard, play loud. You want to get a very snappy, sort of funky rhythmic sound. So this is bad. You want to get really cheeky with it, quite sort of energetic, almost aggressive. Pick hard. Now, as you go from the end of the 2nd bar into the 3rd bar, it's a very quick jump there from fret number 5 on the 5th string to fret number 7 on the 6th string. And remember to start on an upstroke because it's an even number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 strokes. And your 7, 9 is still there. So you basically got a very simple concept over here that 7, 9 is repetitive. And you got the 7 going to the 5, to the 7, and the 6th string to the 8, as we mentioned earlier. And the whole phrase should sound like this. If you want to play along with, I'm going to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're back to where you started again. Now, for the interschools that don't play the chorus, so the part where they start singing the wall of love, the tears have dropped to be part of the wave, I can't stop. They don't actually play that for the interschool part, but I'm going to show you the chords anyway, so if you want to play the song in its entirety, at least you know all the parts. Okay, so I'm going to focus on some chords now, and we're going to look at your chorus, the wall of love, with a G chord. So we're looking at quite a cool strumming pattern like this. Like that. I'm going to quickly focus on the chords. There's a bar chord lurking inside there. You may do bar chords the whole way through as well if you want to. I'm not fussy with that. But the chords as we're going are G chord. You're all familiar with that. I like actually using my pinky and my ring finger together. It gives a slightly different sound as opposed to very subtle. If you listen carefully, there is a difference there. You all know D. Remember to strum from the 4th string. B minor, you could play it like this, but I actually like the bar chord, and the only difference between this conventional B minor and the bar chord is watch my first finger. You'll notice my fingers 2 and 3 and 4 didn't move, the thumb disappears, and my first finger goes straight. And the reason why I like this bar chord is I can strum a nice full sounding chord, and I go from there to C. On the strumming pattern, we're looking at something like this. We're going to go. And to break that down, we've got sort of a complex rhythm, if you want to call it that. We're going to have 2 chords for each complete cycle of strumming. In other words, you're going to go down, up, down, down, and on that last downstroke is the D chord. You can hear it now. Okay, so it's down, up, down, down, up, down, down. So you're adding an extra up, down, down into it. So I'm not going to go into the whole counting of 1 E and 2 E and 3 in here. I'm just going to show you the direction for the strumming. You can hear it and it should work fine. Okay, let's go again. G to D, down, up, down, down, up, down, down. And that last little down, up flick there, you can hear there's no physical sort of chord sound as such. There's no sort of, that's because my fretting hand, which you can't see, is actually doing the change and muting the strings, because I'm going to go to B minor, which is going to be paired the same way that your G to D was. G to the D and B minor to C. And that is basically my crossover to help me with the transition and still keep the rhythm going. So I'm going to sort of focus out now a bit. And now we can see the changes actually happening the whole way through and watch the strumming direction as we spoke about as well. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's really as easy as that. Now for those that don't like using a pick, what I normally do is I like using a pick for this. But when I go to the strumming, I take my pick and I hide him over here. You can see a bit of an angle there. Try and get the, oh, you can't see that. There we go, there's my pick hiding away. Okay, and now I strum with my first finger. So now I go. And when I want to get my pick out, I simply push my thumb and my pick's back in my hand again. So this is a suggestion if you want to use a combination of pick and fingers. It's really your own discretion. I'm not trying to advocate you must use one or the other. Whatever works good for you is good for you. Okay, one last part of the song that's got a bit of a reggae part. It's going to sound like this. Now for the inter-school students that want to audition, you don't have to learn this part. This is just in case you'd like to learn the entire song. It's the bridge. It's where they sing, wait a minute, I'm passing out, win or lose. Nice positive words. Okay, and it's got a very sort of reggae sort of vibes. It's going to sound like this. And the trick there is that staccato strumming. In other words, you've got definite silent gaps between the rhythm. The chords are easy. E minor, you know, D, you know, B minor, C we've done. So I'm going to focus a bit closer onto the strumming hand, and let's have a look what's happening there. As mentioned, you want to get the silence, so this is bad. You want this. Now what I'm doing is I'm actually bouncing my palm on the string. So after I strum down, my palm stops the string from ringing. Like that. So I'm going, starting on a downbeat. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And you can see the movement there. You got that? And if you combine it with your damping from your fretting hand, you can have something like this. To make sure that my palm works well, and if something does slip in over there, or slip out rather with the quiet notes, I also use my pinky. What's a pinky? Can you watch this? You see the pinky? The pinky also mutes. So I'm actually using a combination of pinky mute with the palm mute, and the two together guarantee dead silence between it. Same with D. You can see the pinky's doing a stunning job. B minor is a bar chord, I just relax it. And the same with C, pinky. So the pinky trick combined with your palm damping trick are going to give you a very, very cool combination like this. And that's pretty much Can't Stop Our Peppers. Hope you have a good week. Take care. Cheers.